The biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, Michael McDonald plying his wiles on us.
Oh, the lyrics here are just amazing.
Don't do it.
I'm
not
doing it.
No!
I'm doing it.
This is a family show. You can't. If he
there's
starts,
nothing dirty.
If he starts going full early 80s flirting, late 70s.
He came from somewhere back in her long ago? What? He came from somewhere back in her long ago?
Yeah. It's like the way back.
Sentimental fool don't see.
It's like the whale. It's like the Wayback Machine.
Trying hard to recreate what had yet to be created once in her life.
Yeah.
She musters a smile for his nostalgic tale.
Stop.
Never coming near what he wanted to say, only to realize it never really was.
I love how Alex faded it out. Like, stop doing this.
She had a place in his life. He never made her think twice as he rises to her apology.
Yeah, there it
Anybody else would surely know he's watching her go.
All right.
Is that Jazz fans talking about the lottery? What a fool believes.
The girlfriend who got
sees.
away.
The wise man believed in tanking.
Oh, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you bring it around and have a Michael McDonald song hit hard on Jazz fans, make us feel terrible? Why would you do this?
It's always better than nothing at all, according to Michael McDonald. So the fifth pick
that doesn't even make sense.
is always better than
By
nothing.
the way, that doesn't
than
even
nothing
make
at
sense. That's better than nothing to have nothing than nothing at all. Nothing. Oh, Michael McDonald.
You think Michael McDonald talks like he sings?
What a philosopher you are, brother. Hey, welcome back to the program. We're watching the Maple Leafs and the Panthers. What I do like about when you have an American team and a Canadian team coming together, you got to have the American national anthem sung at the Canadian arenas and vice versa. And there's that little segment of the crowd who, especially now after the international tournament that we had, the Four Nations Cup.
Canadians still mad about the tariffs?
Canada is still pretty mad about all the things that are American right now, okay? Not the least of which is the fact that they haven't won a Stanley Cup and brought a Stanley Cup to a Canadian franchise since
1992.
There you
93,
go.
actually.
93. 32 years.
Patrick Waugh and the Montreal
Not
Canadiens.
That I am keeping score. But call us when you have the Stanley Cup in your possession, Canada, please. All right, let me see here, JJ. Lots going on, as we said, and tons to jump into. But the NHL, or not the NHL, the NBA draft and the draft lottery. See, we didn't have a problem with the draft lottery the NHL did. You know why? It worked in our favor.
That's an awesome lottery.
I'm moving
I
on.
like that lottery.
I'm moving on. You guys did
Keep
it great.
that one.
You guys did it great. By the way, when it comes down to it, you had the biggest jumps in the NHL and NBA lotteries, like combined, than they've ever had.
Isn't that crazy?
You had the Islanders go up from 8th, right?
Ninth.
To 1. 9th to 1.
They went from 10 to 1. They went up 9 spots.
So they go 10 to 1.
Yep.
The Mammoth go from 14 to 4,
Yes.
which is as high as they could have gone. And then we look at the NBA and go, you guys are broken. You guys are stupid. How dare you? And really, the crazy part about it is as fans, we do look at some of the things that are strange when it comes to this, and we have beef. And I think at the very least there are a couple things that do need to change. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Give it a shot for yourself. And also, let's kick off the hour here with the cut, as we always do. Let's do it right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Trajan Wealth. All right, the NBA draft lottery reforms that have gone on in the past have been failures, and we're kind of in the midst of what feels like a failure. At the very least, when you see that the last 2 years haven't just brought us some chaos at the top of the draft order, and obviously the worst team in the league since 2019 hasn't gotten the draft odds. It seems strange because some of these teams aren't tanking, right? I get that a lot are. There are some teams that are just not tanking. They're straight up just bad. And the whole thing about bringing some parity to a league, which is what every commissioner wants, they want to have what the NHL has, which is we're going to the playoffs. We got no freaking clue who's going to win this thing. You know what I mean? You could be the number one.
The NFL, to some extent, has the same thing. The Chiefs have been pretty dominant, but did the Chiefs win the Super Bowl this year?
No, and on top of it, any given Sunday, I know it's an old term, but
that's where it comes from.
Any given Sunday, like you can have a bad team beat the best team. Look, the English Premier League is a little bit like this. The middle of the table is a freaking disaster. Those teams are just beating up on each other. Yeah. It is the top world of soccer. And really, if you're not Liverpool at the very, very top or the last 2 or 3 that are just awful, everybody else is like, dude, I watched the 11th place team beat the 3rd place team all the time. You know what I mean? Like, there's just that's what you want. That is what you want. And a piece of that puzzle is telling the Atlanta Hawks last year, who ended up winning the lottery, right? Yes. Telling the Hawks and telling the Mavericks this year, God bless you, good luck in the future. You were in the play-in, you can't win the lottery. You were in the play-in tournament. You were technically kind of in the playoffs. You can't win the lottery. Why are we last 2 years?
Why are the play-in teams allowed to be in the lottery?
The last 2 years, two play-in teams have won the freaking lottery, and it's a freaking joke.
Here's another crazy stat. Of the 28 top 4 picks handed out since 2019 when they flattened the odds, more than half have gone to teams starting in the 5th slot or later.
Okay. So here's my question.
I don't know what the worst teams aren't getting better.
What do the numbers look like? You can keep the odds flatter. You can keep the odds flat still. But what you're doing is you're taking out the teams that were in the play-in. You cannot have them be there. So don't let them be a part of the lottery, and certainly don't let them win it. Maybe look at what the NHL model is and go, you know what? The Utah Hockey Club was kind of the hockey version of the play-in, right? Where it's like they're right on the edge.
They should have had the 2nd pick, but the rules didn't allow them to move up that high.
Why? Because they had a good enough season that 4 should feel pretty damn good.
It's ridiculous that the team with the 14th worst record in the league gets the number 1 pick, and they've put a safeguard in there to prevent it.
It just is bonkers to me that, and again, this sounds like a bunch of boo-hoo from the teams who didn't win the lottery, but I really want to know why the NBA would go, yeah, man, like you make the play-in, you're obviously not a playoff team technically.
I know why they're doing it. This was their attempt to end tanking. This is a response to what the Philadelphia 76ers did for how many years with their, air quotes, process.
Trust the process.
They were clearly tanking, and they started this whole, I guess, movement of team building through tanking, through being as bad as possible to acquire as many number 1 picks as possible to build a championship roster. Guess who's not won a championship doing that? It's the Philadelphia 76ers. But my point is they reacted in a way to try to quell that, and flattening the odds was meant to do that. And to be quite honest, it's been successful. And you can argue with that all you want, and you can still say, "Oh, tanking's still the way to go."
It's been successful in not letting the teams tank.
You got to get better through the draft. But what tanking team has benefited from this? Who's tanking in the last 6 years who has come out better for it? The Jazz haven't.
Right. And by the way, it felt weird. It feels like a foreign concept here in Utah anyway, because the tank, like the full-on 82-game tank, which is what this one felt like, because was Lowry's injury last year? Was it I mean, not this past season, the one right before the All-Star break of 24, right? He was kind of out, and he just wasn't 100%, and he was missing a ton of games.
Yeah.
And everyone went,
yeah, and the Jazz ended like 1-15 or something.
Shut her down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It felt like the beginning of, or at least the end of the season was a little bit of that tank, right?
Yes.
And then all full in, everyone, we have all these different,
they were able to keep their pick because of it.
Right. And we have all these code names for it, right? Where we go, oh, yeah, it's the youth movement. The assignment. We've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they know the assignment. It's like, well, what? What are we talking about here? Not calling it tanking, because they don't. And by the way, it just feels so weird. Of all the things that you're trying to teach these young kids, in the midst of all of it, you're trying to tell them while they're developing as a team. And by the way, we're actually kind of glad you're losing all these games. But damn it, you better be better. You better be a good basketball player. Just not too good right now. I like your development, kid. Keep those losses coming. It just sounds like such a mixed message. It sounds so weird. And I don't know what I think at the very least, keep the odds flat, but keep the teams who are in the play-in out. So who would that mean then, JJ? Who would have been in the lottery part where the ping pong balls were actually bouncing around? Who would have been a part of that, and who would not have been a part of it this year? What were the ones, if we were to take away the teams that were part of the play-in, but they're also still part of.
So if you eliminated the play-in teams, who would be in the lottery?
Who would have actually been in the lottery this year? Or who wouldn't have been? It would be easier to say that.
So the Suns gave their pick to the Rockets, so they would be in the lottery. They would have the worst odds, tied with the Blazers. And then you'd have the Spurs, then the Raptors, then the Nets, Sixers, Pelicans, Hornets, Wizards, Jazz. So you're taking 4 teams out of the mix.
Okay.
It's down to 10 teams.
Now redistribute all those numbers to keep it flat. Again, keep it to where the same bottom 3 have the same odds. But now it's gone to, I don't know, 18.5% apiece or whatever it might be.
It does increase them, but it doesn't increase them to the point where it used to be, which was 25%.
It still gets you to the spot where you're not guaranteeing yourself any of those things.
A lot of the worst teams in the league won during that era. Before 2019.
Okay.
In 2018, the Suns won it. They had the worst record. In 2017, the Nets, they had the worst record, but it was conveyed to the Sixers. 2016, the Sixers, 10-72, worst record. They got the pick.
10-72.
2015, Timberwolves, 16-66, worst record. They got the pick. Nothing worse than third worst record won the lottery from 2012 to 2018. That's why the league made this change.
Because they were like, but by the way, these bad
teams were purposely tanking to try to get that number 1 pick, and it was successful.
But it just is. It's such a gut punch. Not just to not win the lottery, but to still know that these teams are going to still attempt, because we're such dunces that we just keep going back to the same thing, right? Where you go, well, I know tanking doesn't work, but maybe this year, right? Like we keep going back.
What
we keep
the Jazz did, right?
Yes.
I mean, Danny Ainge knows the price to pay when you tank and you don't win. It happened to him in Boston. How did he respond to that? Well, he pivoted.
Yeah.
Does he do the same thing here? And is there a lesson to be learned here that this current system of flattening the odds has made it hasn't destroyed tanking? It hasn't removed it completely. But man, if I'm a franchise, I'm thinking twice about going through this rough of a process, because you may not get out of it, because the amount of times you're going to have to wait to get that player that's going to allow you to break out of it might be too much pain to be able to tolerate.
Just sell your soul and a bunch of draft picks and some contracts to get the names that you actually want on your team.
Build the picks. Bring in the picks via trades.
Come on.
And then go make deals to bring in that player. Be better with personnel. Be better talent evaluators, both in the draft and in the trades that you pursue. That's how it should be decided who wins and who loses. Are the best team builders. Build the best team. Does that mean you have to have the best player in the league? Who's the best player in the league right now?
Nikola Jokic.
Are the Denver Nuggets going to win the NBA championship this year?
Probably not.
Okay,
what are they now? Are they down 3-2 now?
They're down 3-2.
Yeah.
As good as he is, he doesn't have enough help. So again, team building. The Nuggets didn't do a good enough job of team building around the best player in the league. So they're not going to win the championship. And to counter that, the best player, the team with there's going to be a team that wins the championship that doesn't have the best player. Who wins the championship out of who's left? I mean, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Knicks, and the most likely,
the Pacers.
Well, the Pacers just moved on.
Yeah.
One of those 4 teams is going to win an NBA championship.
Yeah.
Think about that. The Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Pacers, or the Knicks. And only one of those teams right now has a number 1 overall pick on their roster that could win it all, and that's Anthony Edwards. So that worked out pretty well for Minnesota, but The Pacers found a way to build a really nice roster that's contending for a championship without a number 1 overall pick. In fact, they traded for Halliburton.
Right.
They added Pascal Siakam in. No, they traded for him as well at a deadline and then signed him to an extension. The Pacers are being rewarded for making great personnel decisions. Yeah. Same with the Knicks.
The Knicks
they went
got
all
a
in
number
on
1.
Jalen Brunson.
They got a number 1 overall pick, too, with Cat. Like, they went out and got a different.
They traded for him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
They go, hey, this guy's already he's a number 1 overall pick, and we know what we're going to get with him. And he's not going to necessarily be a Hall of Famer. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but what he is very productive when he's out on the floor for the most part.
Look what the Thunder did with the trade. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was not drafted by the Thunder, nor was he a number 1 overall pick. But they made a trade, and he was part of that trade.
Yeah.
They traded a really, really good player, and he was thrown into the deal. Paul George. A very, very difficult decision they had to make personnel-wise, but years later it's paid off. Outside of the Timberwolves, the other 3 teams showed there's ways to build a team without having to win a lottery.
Yeah. And maybe that's what the NBA is signaling toward too, where they go, hey, the draft you're gonna get some talent in the draft, fine, but don't make it the main way that you build. You know what I mean? Like, don't just wait for Victor Wembanyama or Cooper Flagg or Anthony Edwards to come along. Don't just do that, because if you just go off of that, your roster's going to be garbage. If you just bank on that one number 1 overall pick that you're ever going to get. I don't know what the number is like overall in the history of the game, what teams have gotten the number 1 pick overall. You know, it's got to be some version of the 76ers or the Cavaliers who've won the most number 1 overall picks all time.
If you go back and you list the number 1 overall picks in the draft, how many of those number 1 overall picks ended up winning the championship with the team that drafted them originally?
Yeah, it's like 0.
And LeBron doesn't count because he won a championship with the Cavaliers after he came back in free agency.
Yes.
It's Kyrie Irving and it's Tim Duncan. Over what, 30 years?
Yep. Not a long
Number
list.
1 overall picks don't guarantee you anything.
Right.
Team building does. It does help to have the best player or one of the top 10 players, you got to have the best 5 on the court that work and play well together. Look, I'll give you a list. I'll throw out a list of the 10 best players in the league. How many of these guys are still left? Kevin Durant. Nope, didn't even make the playoffs. Jason Tatum, unfortunate what happened to him.
How dare you.
Anthony Edwards is still out there. Steph Curry hanging by a thread, but he's on the bench injured.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not even going to play the rest
Joel
of the way.
Embiid didn't make the playoffs. Luka Doncic out in the first round. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still playing. Giannis out in the first round. LeBron James out in the first round. And Nikola Jokic hanging by a thread. Yeah. So that's the top 10 players in the league.
Right.
So those teams that had a top 10 player in the league weren't guaranteed anything. The Lakers have 2 of them out in the first round.
Yeah, but, did you see Luka's back, though? It looked like it hurt. I want my back. What did they call that, though? By the way, when they're like, yeah, what they do is they just it was Patrick Beverley actually who brought it up on the podcast one day. He goes, "You see that as soon as somebody as soon as the Lakers started losing, oh, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, my back hurts. Oh, my knee hurts." LeBron, dude, I'm missing the Met Gala because I don't know if you guys saw, but that MCL got strained.
Couldn't get into that designer suit.
Come on. All right. Let's take a break. Well,
wow.
I certainly feel a lot better. Oh, did that dude break his nose?
Well, that's Ty Domi. Remember what happened at the end of last game?
Oh, yeah.
He just took one to the face.
Did he get – and it was across the bridge of the nose
it was.
too. Ooh.
It was.
All right.
Panthers sending a message.
We got more to go in the program, so stay right here with us. When we return, we got some NFL to talk about. We've got our Blitz coming up. You don't want to miss any of that. Plus, on top of it, I've got a best and worst for you as well. So stay here at 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. I was just showing you during the break some video of Desmond Watson. If you're not familiar with Desmond Watson, it was one of the favorite people that my kids loved to Google this year. Look at number 21 on Florida. Hold on. Look him up. Look him up. And I was always like, you guys, are we doing this again? Leave the chubby guy alone from Florida. But you know what? He ends up going to the Buccaneers. Desmond Watson is 6'6", 464 pounds. That's the biggest.
464.
464 pounds. Now I've piqued your interest, huh? Now it suddenly became a reality show, my 1,000-pound life. Me and my
Gosh.
But that's why it was even more insane, because I was showing him a video of Desmond Watson's pro day vertical, which was 25 inches, okay? Which is a half inch more than Johnny Broom, who is playing basketball for a living for Auburn and is trying and got invited to the combine. And if you watch this video of his combine vertical jump, it looks like me trying to pull off the vertical jump.
Oof.
It's not good. A guy who's 232 pounds more than you jumped higher than you did with his vertical leap. That's not good for business.
It's not good.
But you know what it is? Amazing that a 464-pound dude has a 25-inch vertical. Am I wrong? That's phenomenal. And at 6'6", I bet he dunks. Please don't.
If you're 6'6" and you have that kind of a vertical at 464 pounds, you probably can. And I would love to see that.
That's why you go to most church steak centers and it says, please no dunking. Because Desmond Watson will come and break your steak centers.
There's always that 464-pound guy out there that wants to prove to you he can hoop.
What does he have, a 25-inch vert? Oh, yeah, man.
Beware.
He'll do it. He'll do it. Hey, double the refreshments this time around. Desmond Watson's coming. All right, so there you go. Next up on the NFL Blitz here. Oh, by the way, you can join Hans and Scotty broadcasting live tomorrow at the Dyslexia Center of Utah Golf Tournament down at Cedar Hills Golf Club. Go check them out for yourself or take a listen all day long. They're going to be out there noon to 3 at the Dyslexia Center of Utah Golf Tournament at Cedar Hills. All right. More to the Blitz here. Florida is the first one on the board here. They're in Toronto too, right?
Yes.
Well, they're up 1-0 in the first period. All right, there you go. Derrick Henry has just signed the largest per-year deal for any running back in the NFL's history for somebody over the age of 30.
Wow.
2 years, $30 million, $25 million of it is guaranteed. I think that's a heck of a deal.
Great deal.
For both teams, or for both sides of this one. That's how you know a trade is good, right? Because you've got Derrick Henry, who, by the way, is already old. Wink, right? Ran for 1,930 yards last year. Was arguably the most important piece. I mean, him and Lamar Jackson, to be able to have that type of weapon.
My goodness.
And when you watch him run, he still looks like he runs like the wind, man. And by the way, speaking of guys who have good vertical leaps, he is one of the best athletes at that size I've ever seen in my entire life. Yep. I can't even believe that guy played running back in college and he won the dadgum Heisman Trophy doing it.
Remember what he looked like? He was like a man amongst boys in college.
He is
at Alabama.
Massive. And to watch him run the ball and to have that burst of speed still, if I'm the Ravens, best thing that ever happened to me was Jerry Jones passing up on Derrick Henry and saying, I think we'll be fine.
Isn't that insane?
I think we're going to be okay. Derrick Henry's having a career year. Remember, the rest of the year was him talking about how Derrick Henry, it's a fluke. He's having a career year. Look, 1,900 yards. No one's ever done that age, right? I'm like, you employed a running back for 100 years who now owns the NFL record for the most yards all time on the ground, and you let him run the ball till he was, 34 there in Dallas, and then he went for another couple years in the Cardinals, at Phoenix, or Arizona, whatever they were back then. Bottom line is, I just think it's great that Derrick Henry is kind of revamping. Him and Saquon are kind of redefining what the number is now.
Yeah.
For running backs.
And the running back position, it's always had value, and they reminded everybody just how important it is to be able to run the football in the league.
You forget how big of a business this is, and sometimes the awkward part of the business side of it is rookies sitting out of minicamp saying, I'm trying to get a deal done. I wish I could be out there with my guys. And when you're a rookie, it's very awkward. When you're Trey Hendrickson and you're playing for the Bengals and you go, I'm not playing until I get a new deal, that's very awkward. Wearing your street gear, wearing your hat to practice out there to the workouts and going, I'm here for my guys. It's just business. It feels so bad for these dudes, right? Where you're like, ugh. So Trey Hendrickson says he's not going to play for the Bengals without a new deal. He's one of the best. He certainly is a guy that's a difference maker on that defense for them. He probably has.
Their defense was one of the worst in the league last year. Without Hendrickson, they might be the worst. And with all that offensive firepower they just signed, they better get this figured out.
You better get this defense dialed in, man. Come on.
Because they could be a playoff team. They can win the AFC.
Did they get another edge rusher, by the way, in the draft? The Bengals? I can't remember. Hold on. Looking it up. You look that up. I'm going to keep going on our Blitz here. So, yeah.
Edge rusher, Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M.
I knew it was somebody.
You're right. Number 17 overall. You don't think that was planned?
And a little bit of like a,
yeah,
we're going to try our hand at this
available.
Kid. Fine.
Our Pro Bowl defensive end is going to hold out because he wants more money. Oh, well. Edge rusher's on the board.
Take him.
Guess he's the best player available.
Yep. Your Christmas Day games, by the way, it's a triple header this year. I think last year was a triple header too.
It was.
It was across the board. Best thing ever. So there's Christmas presents. You don't even have to get me anything, kids. All right? Cowboys, Commanders.
How does the NBA feel about the NFL creeping on Christmas?
They can't stop it, first of all.
Yes.
And the NBA has a lot of issues, and one of them is TV ratings, and you ain't going to win that one either. Okay? So, yeah, you can put LeBron versus Anthony Edwards on your Christmas Day game. I don't care. Cowboys, Commanders, Vikings, Lions, two massive matchups inside of. I know.
And remember what the third one is.
Yes, and then they wrap up the day with your Broncos and the Chiefs.
Yes.
That's about as good of a Sunday lineup as you can get.
Netflix will stream all the games.
But like I said, you could put anything on and I'll watch it from the NFL 100 times more than I would an NBA game.
Chiefs Broncos will be streamed by Prime.
Oh.
That's their Thursday night football.
Does that mean we get to hear Al Michaels that night? Or is he still with
He's
us?
still Prime.
Okay.
Don't you dare. I know he's not great anymore, but don't you dare kill one of the greatest broadcasters of all time.
With us. I didn't mean with us.
Al Michaels is still very much with us and with Prime.
Which is also how he likes his steak. Prime cut.
Yes.
There you go.
No veggies.
Please take those veggies back to the kitchen, please, without my compliments to the chef.
Set them on fire and throw them in the garbage.
He's still alive, so look, it's like those people who are like, you're 114. What do you attribute it to? Probably the bacon and the whiskey. I always love that when they ask these, hey, what do you attribute your 109 years of age to? Probably
Coke and cigars.
Probably the multiple packs of cigarettes all day. I don't know. Jeez, lady. You don't have to say it like that. Just the nicotine. I always hate that.
Yeah. I love how the people asking the question think they're going to get some kind of crazy health tip. Oh, no. Nope. They're just like they're everybody else. They just got lucky.
Speaking of streaming games, YouTube's going to stream that Week 1 game at Brazil, right? Didn't we figure out who that game is? Who is it this year? Last year, the Eagles kind of gave it away. Is it your Chiefs?
The Chiefs-Chargers, right?
Chiefs-Chargers down in Brazil.
Right.
Wow. All right. Well, what was that? What movie is that from? Sure, kid. Watch out you don't get killed. Oh, that was Field of Dreams.
That's right.
Hey, man. You want to? He's like, you want to give him a warning? Yeah, here's a warning. Watch out you don't get killed, kid. The ghost baseball players out in the outfield. Right. Troy Aikman has predicted the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl this season. Why on earth would you freaking do that, Troy?
Come on, man.
Why would you do that? Troy.
How? They're the third best team in their division.
Yeah, but they got George Pickens. Mm-hmm. That's going to do it, right?
Yeah, George Pickens is going to solve your
George
problem.
Pickens and a disgruntled CeeDee Lamb, by the way, who's going to be disgruntled the entire season because that's the way it's going to go.
How did the Cowboys even make the playoffs this year?
Do you think that George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are going to get along ever? No. That is an awful combination.
There's a reason why the Steelers traded George Pickens. It wasn't because he is not good.
Yeah, he's a bad locker room guy. Both throw him in with CeeDee Lamb. I'm sure they'll cancel each other's negativity out.
I'm sure. This is going to go well.
I mean, it's great that Dak has got somebody to throw to. Is Cooper Rush still the backup there?
No, he left. He's out.
Oh, that's right.
He bailed.
Oh, good for him.
He found somewhere else to play.
I'm trying to think of it. Is it one of the? Who's the backup then in Dallas? I'm sorry. Who is it? Ellinger? Milton? Oh, poor Joe Milton. When you have to go in and take over for the last 11 games of the season, kid. God bless you. Good luck.
Milton. Good luck, man. Cooper Rush is now the backup quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens.
Good for him.
By the way, real quick in the NFC. I'll go through this. How are the Cowboys going to make the playoffs? Tell me one of these teams that is not going to make the playoffs. Eagles, Commanders.
Both in.
Okay. Remember, how many teams can make it? 7, right?
Is it 7?
It's 7.
Yeah, 14
Okay,
total.
so we're already at 2.
Okay.
Got 5 left. Lions, Packers, Vikings. Do all those three make it?
I'd say Lions and Packers for sure.
Okay, so let's put those 2 in. Let's lock them in.
Let's say it goes
light.
light.
We got 3 spots left.
Let's say it goes light in that division and they only have 2
3
teams.
spots left, and we got 2 divisions, so we got to have 2 division winners. So whoever wins the South and the West. Let's just say that one of those teams win. Just one. One of the teams from those divisions makes it as the division winner.
Let's go.
You're already at 6.
Let's go rock, paper, scissors. One round of rock, paper, scissors to see if the Seahawks or the Rams win the West. You ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, my Seahawks get the win.
Your Seahawks are going to win.
But I mean,
the West.
they're going to be 8-9, but they'll still be the division winner.
The Rams are going to make the playoffs, right?
Are they?
You see the Rams not making the playoffs?
Well, they just lost that rock, paper, scissors competition that was very important.
Are the Falcons going to make the playoffs?
No.
The Vikings.
Wait. Sorry, who's in the NFC South anymore even? Okay, the Saints are definitely not going to be it.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Tampa's going to win that division. The Falcons are going to be borderline. You get my point.
Yeah.
Like we
Rams,
got
Seahawks out of the West, and
you had 6 out of 7
Falcons.
locks. So the Cowboys going to be that 7th team. That's their best case scenario. That's how hard it's going to be in the NFC. And I just don't see it.
The Mariners just lost to the Yankees earlier today, about an hour ago, okay? But we did win the NFC West just now with my rock, paper, scissors with Alex Annapolis. So mark it down.
We should just decide every football game.
Listen,
with
don't
rock,
even
paper,
play the
scissors.
game.
I prefer not to actually play the real games, to be honest. So I'm talking about the Seahawks. Who's their quarterback again? I mean, it's
Sam Darnold. You'll win 13
light.
games and then
I
you'll
know.
forget how to play in the playoffs.
That's fine. That's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. That 12th flag is gonna be flying at half mast all year. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have our best and worst next. Stay here with us. More to go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Oh, wow. Should we start now? Oh, boy. That's awkward. The music ran out. There you go. Hey, best and worst today, bro.
At least the lights didn't go out.
I know. That could have been a lot worse. Our best and worst brought to you by the Doug Smith family of dealerships: Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Subaru, Kia, and now Mitsubishi and American Fork. So you've got American Fork, Spanish Fork, and Linden, where you can find the Doug Smith family of dealerships. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Dick Vitale has announced, this is your best of the day, that he is indeed cancer-free. I feel like I won the national championship. National treasure, Dick Vitale. Now, here's the question. How long is he going to be calling games? As long as he says that his body will allow him to. But, man, emotional cancer-free message from Dickie V today. And it says, life-changing. I'm on cloud nine.
Awesome.
The best news you could get, of course, you think about a guy who was so closely connected to Jim Valvano, and then to be told later in your life that you've got cancer and you've got to beat this thing, and then he's able to do it. That's just, so much work that goes into that. And so, yeah, He's had multiple different forms of cancer since 2021. And so I'd encourage you to go watch that video, too. It's emotional. It's cool. It's just it's awesome. So couldn't be happier for Dickie V. So there you go. You think about guys who, for our lifetimes, JJ, like who just are iconic parts of the sport. Like Dick Vitale is an iconic piece of what college basketball is.
He is the John Madden of college basketball.
It's
meaning
just,
somebody who got into the sport as a coach,
right?
But they're known more for what they did as a broadcaster to make the game better.
Yeah,
I think there's a similarity there, and he's got a style all of his own.
People love him,
and it's just so great that he's going to be able to continue to broadcast. Because for a while there, it didn't look good, and so it's just awesome news.
You saw also that the Grizzlies CEO, Kevin Bruder, passed away, according to family, over the weekend. He was 56 years old. He was hanging out with his family and died suddenly at 56. And that throws everything into a loop because he was not just the CEO of this team, but he managed the Maverick Center for years. This is a guy who is as tied into the Grizzlies, the Maverick Center, everything that has to do with that ECHL team.
Yeah, he was the chairman of the ECHL Board of Governors since 2021. So prominent member of the sports community here. That boy, it's
a tough one.
That's just terrible news. We're thinking of his family.
All right, JJ, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. We got more to go, and then we'll cut things off a little bit early next hour because we've got RSL firing off tonight. You got that match, and you've, of course, got so much more to go. So don't miss any of it. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.